You can get to the top of Switzerland's Jungfrau mountain in one of the most scenic journeys of your entire Swiss visit, while on the same big day, you can find time for several easy hikes and scenic rides by train and cable car, enjoying some of the world's finest sights. You'll find the city of Interlaken makes a good home base for your visit because of the large number of hotels in a wide range of prices, and of course lots of restaurants and shops to keep you busy. From here you can reach the top of the Jungfrau in 2 hours with frequent train service. Starting out from Interlaken's East train station, your first goal is to reach the top of the Jungfrau as early as possible in order to increase chances of good weather and clear visibility, because afternoon clouds often roll in, blocking the view. Plus, an early arrival up there can be cheaper. If you leave Interlaken by 7 a.m., your train ticket round trip is 145 Swiss francs instead of 205 Swiss francs. And if you have a Swiss Rail Pass, you'll also get an added discount. The early start enables you to also beat the crowds and give you enough time in the rest of the day for all the activities we've got planned for you. With that start, you can reach the Jungfrau summit by 9 a.m. Then after the Jungfrau, continue this big day with a variety of fun activities, as we'll be showing in this video. The map route illustrates an excellent way for you to navigate the big day. Head by train up to the Jungfrau, changing trains at Grindelwald village and Kleine Scheidegg, arriving early up top. Plan to spend about 2 hours on the Jungfrau, enjoying the views, frolicking in the snow, and experiencing the many exhibits on offer at the summit. Then take the train back down towards Wengen, hop off along the way for an easy downhill hike in Alpine meadows to Wengen village. Next, take a scenic round-trip train ride down to Lauterbrunnen and back up again. A cable car ride then carries you on a different route back over the mountains from Wengen to Grindelwald, which is a lovely village to visit. Plus, you can take a hike there in a glacier canyon. Then take the train back down to Interlaken where you started the day. By the way, you could do this entire route in the opposite direction, getting to the Jungfrau via Lauterbrunnen, but for various reasons we prefer the direction in this program, which describes in specific detail how much fun you can pack into one day when you are organized. You can see this is quite an ambitious itinerary, but it can be done, no problem. We are going to show you how to do it. The train journey up to the top of the Jungfrau is one of the most scenic rail lines in the world. The journey from Interlaken to Grindelwald can be easily made on the Bernese Overland Railway, and it travels on a scenic route through the valley and along the banks of the Gulch River, and then it curves around and passes several villages. This part of the journey is quite rural. It's a pastoral scene out there with the green fields and the mountains off in the distance. The train passes a few village stations along the way, such as at Wildeswil, where you could get on a train to the Schnigge Plateau for another viewpoint. And just ahead, it'll also stop at Zweilütschinen, where the train tracks have a juncture, one track going to Lauterbrunnen straight ahead, the other going up the hill where we're going to Grindelwald. Sometimes the train splits here into two sections, one going straight to Lauterbrunnen and the other up the hill, so be sure you're on the correct part of the train when you board. It's a circle route, so you can get up to the Jungfrau via Lauterbrunnen or Grindelwald. It's up to you. The cogwheel railway is ascending gradually to the small village of Grindelwald, and then we arrive towards the suburbs, you might say, of Grindelwald. These are the beautiful chalet homes of the people of Grindelwald, which is an excellent starting point for mountain excursions. Later in the program, we're making a stop in Grindelwald. We're going to have a meal and we're going to take you on a hike up the Glacier Gulch. But right now we're going straight up to the Jungfrau, so we'll change trains here and continue on with the journey. Grindelwald is a beautiful village, as we'll show you at the end of the program. Leaving the village of Grindelwald by the Alp train line on the rack and pinion system to Grund, the train ascends amidst charming views of the valley and mountains to Alpine, thence through the slopes of the Vergersal Alp and over a ridge, affording still grander views back to Grindelwald and the giants of the Alps, eventually reaching the rail station of Kleine Scheidegg. The village of Grindelwald is about 4,000 feet in elevation, cradled in that lovely valley, and we're heading up higher and higher, going along the foot of the giant Eiger Mountain. You might think it would be a challenge to walk up this hill rather than ride in this comfortable train, and that's true. It's a high elevation and a steep hill, and yet looking out the window, there are people running. Amazingly, there's some kind of a foot race going on, and they are making some pretty good time going up, up, up. Now, there is a famous marathon annual event in the Jungfrau area here on this same trail, and that happens in September. We're here in the month of May, so this is just another one of the regular, frequent foot races. Passing by these goats browsing in the backyard of their chalet and passing the cows munching grass out in this beautiful pasture reminds us of the importance that agriculture historically has played in this area. Time was 100 years ago, that was the main occupation. Of course, tourism has become the number one occupation of the people of Grindelwald now, but nice they still maintain their flocks of animals. It's good for them, and it provides another element of this beautiful scenery. Awesome views looking up the face of this wall of mountains that we're riding along. It's a series of interconnected mountains with their separate peaks. As we're approaching the Kleine Scheidegg, a rail junction that's at nearly 7,000 feet elevation. It's great these train windows slide down and open for you to let in that fresh mountain air and give you an unobstructed view. Arriving at the small Kleine Scheidegg train station, we're just going to hang around for a little while and change trains for the final leg up. Although Kleine Scheidegg is primarily a rail junction, it's actually a small hamlet with a couple of little hotels, restaurants and shops and hiking opportunities. People desiring the purest, bracing tonic airs combined with magnificent alpine scenery, quiet evenings, and freedom from formality or fashion would do well to spend a night at Kleine Scheidegg. And there's your classic alpine dog, the St. Bernard. He's even got his little cask of brandy, posing with this Japanese tour group. It's free to take his picture, but if you want to get in the picture with the dog, then it's advisable to tip his friendly handler. Elevation of the Kleine Scheidegg juncture is 2,000 meters, or nearly 7,000 feet, so it's not too high that it's going to cause any distress to you. And there are some hiking trails that you might consider out from the Kleine Scheidegg, in addition to that train up to the top of the Jungfrau. We'll show you a shorter mountain hike coming up later in the program. And we'll also bring you back to Kleine Scheidegg in a little while for lunch after we go up to the top of the Jungfrau. Now it's time to get on our train and go. The final leg up to heaven on earth. You can reserve seats on this leg or just hope that it's not crowded and buy an open ticket. This rail line from Kleine Scheidegg to the Jungfraujoch is 100 years old. It's one of Europe's great engineering wonders. It's the world's highest subway because it goes into the mountain and climbs through 4 miles of tunnels inside the rock. The beginning of this rail journey is not underground. It's above ground and you get some great views for a few moments, so sit on the right side of the train if you can. The train trip from Kleine Scheidegg to the Jungfraujoch station takes about 50 minutes, and it brings you to the highest train station in Europe. It's also probably the highest price of a train ride per mile in Europe, with a cost of about 200 Swiss francs or $200 round trip from Interlaken. You can save a little money if you take the early bird. That might run you maybe 140 instead of 200, but you do have to leave Interlaken before 7 a.m. in the morning. An early start is also good for increasing your chances of clear weather when you get to the top, because clouds often roll in by midday and afternoon. And along the way, the train enters a few tunnels. About half the journey is inside the mountain in tunnels. and it goes under some train sheds open on one side, and it does make 2 stops along the way. This allows passengers to get off the train and walk over to some picture windows for magnificent vistas. It stops at Eigerwand, which is on the north face of the Eiger, and it stops at IJsmeer, which is on the south face of the Eiger. And you can see through holes that have been excavated through the mountain. The rail company has timed the stops at these 2 photo opportunities just perfectly. You have enough time to get off the train and walk through the tunnel over to the picture window and take photographs, admire the view, catch your breath, and then walk back to the train and get your seat again to resume the journey. And they blow the whistle to let you know it's time to go. When you have a spectacular, clear view like this with sunshine lighting up the glacier, be sure to take your pictures, because when you get to the top, it might be a little bit more cloudy, as we found out, so shoot while you can. Construction of the Jungfrau Railway happened at the beginning of the 20th century, and this railroad has made the area one of the most visited places in the Alps. At the top, when you get off the train, you'll find everything is very nicely organized. You just follow the crowd, get on the elevator, you ride up a little bit more, and then one of the first things you want to do, of course, is get out into the snow. We're at the Jungfrau, about 12,000 feet high, which is about 2.5 miles, really, really high. But it was so easy to get up here. You just come by train, and then finally at the very top, you come up by elevator. What could be simpler than that? And there's restaurants, gift shops, there's viewing platforms, you can go skiing, there's a movie theater, there's even a little hotel just beyond. So it's really a very comfortable place to enjoy your fun in the snow. This guy in his underwear must have been a well-paid model to put up with such freezing weather. Notice how quickly the weather can change up here. You go from bright, clear sunshine to cloudy, foggy mist within a few minutes. That's mountain weather. It's the month of May on a cloudy day, so quite nippy. But in the summer, with sunshine, you could get by with shorts and a t-shirt. But it's nice just being up on the mountaintop anyway, and on the glacier. Toss around a little bit of snow, watch the other people, take some pictures, and hope the conditions will clear. Of course, up on a mountaintop where there's a breeze, it could clear up within 2 minutes. Meanwhile, watching the people carry on. But you haven't even reached the top yet. You ride the elevator another 356 feet up to the Sphinx, the Jungfrau's highest platform. Top of the Jungfrau, this is the Sphinx. It's almost 12,000 feet high. It's actually snowing here. This platform is the second highest observation deck in the Swiss Alps, just behind Klein Matterhorn, which we've shown you in our movie about Zermatt. There are many different areas to explore up here on the mountaintop, connected by tunnels and rotating doors and elevators. So we're going to go show you around. And there's always hot chocolate waiting for you in the cafe. When you're back in this gift shop and lounge area, keep your eyes on those picture windows, because sometimes the view will get even better. Now, perhaps when you were outdoors it was pretty cloudy and you couldn't see so much, but within a few minutes this view can change, the clouds blow away. The way they've developed the mountaintop, there's actually many more things to see and do up here besides looking at the actual view. They've created some entertaining spaces with movies, slideshows, little rooms with lights and light shows and exhibits. And there's a variety of different things to see while you're up here. So be sure to take advantage. Don't just come up to the top and take a picture and head on back down again. Do some exploring. You'll be amazed at how much there is to see. The most spectacular of all of these spaces and attractions is this huge multimedia movie room. It's just brilliant the way they've created these angular screens all around you, 360 degrees, and you're just flying and floating over the mountaintops. It's a wonderful panorama. And then the fun continues. You see, they've got all of these different tunnels to get you from one place to the next, so they decided to decorate them. They put in some light shows and different colors and different patterns, and it's really all done very nicely. It might seem a little tacky to you watching the video, but when you're there and you're immersed in it, this is really a fun way to walk through the tunnels. And you don't even have to walk. They've put in moving sidewalks. These Swiss engineers have been working 2 miles above sea level. We're at about 11,000 feet here, and they put in the convenience of moving sidewalks, bringing you past these historical photos and beautiful panorama paintings. Tell some of the history of the Jungfrau. There had been plans to build this railway a long time ago, starting from as early as 1860, and construction finally began in 1896, and it took quite a while. There were some explosions, there was a few deaths, there was a lot of hard work involved, and finally in 1912 they opened up the Jungfrau Joch station and began the train service. A large complex of tunnels and buildings has been constructed at the Jungfrau Joch up towards the peak. There's a hotel, 2 restaurants, an observatory, and the Ice Palace with its collection of elaborate ice sculptures. A research station, there's a small cinema, there's a ski school. You can rent skis up here. In 1937, the Sphinx platform was opened up and more scientific instruments and laboratories were added, with a weather station, astronomical telescope, cosmic radiation detector, solar observatory, and environmental monitoring station. The center's studies have documented an alarming trend in recent decades of a gradual reduction in the size and extent of the Alpine glaciers, undoubtedly due to global warming. Plan on spending at least 1 hour, preferably 2 at the top, playing in the snow and exploring these various levels and exhibits at the visitor center. And then when you're ready, catch any convenient train back down the route you came up. You don't have to worry so much about the train schedules. You just head on down and get to the right track. Then there'll be people there to guide you, and board the train and just wait for it to go. You return to Kleine Scheidegg, where you can change trains for a different return route that will take you down through Wengen. Or if you're hungry and you're waiting for the next train, there's a nice restaurant there at Kleine Scheidegg train station where you can get a good typical Swiss meal and some beer. You might think that eating in a small train station at 7,000 foot elevation is the last place you want to eat, but turns out this was quite tasty. It's sausage and potato, pretty simple. Having a meal next to the train platform is convenient. You can time your departure exactly. And now we're going to take you on a little bit of a hiking adventure. You could take the train all the way back down to Lauterbrunnen and then on into Interlaken, of course. You've already paid for the ticket, but we've decided to walk part of the way down. So we get off the train halfway down and we start walking, and it was a little bit early in the hiking season. There's a trail here, but sometimes we couldn't see the trail. It was still covered with snow. And you got this great view to cushion your landing. Well, we carry on further along, and the trail is very well defined now, and have these nice views of the train that we could have taken down, but no, we're walking. And as you can see, it's really a delightful walk. Wildflowers everywhere. Another train going by. There's frequent train service here, usually twice an hour. We are just now completing this lovely walk. We started out at Wengen, which is a little on-call train station along the way, and walked about 2.5 miles to Wengen, mostly downhill, very pleasant. For the most of it, there was a well-marked trail, a gravel road, real easy walking, most delightful. And now we've arrived in the small village of Wengen. No cars allowed here, just for people. Now we're going to take you on a very special train ride from Wengen down to Lauterbrunnen. Special because it's my favorite train ride in the entire world. Then it's over in just 14 minutes and you've arrived in the village of Lauterbrunnen. A small town with a good variety of cozy hotels that would actually make a very nice home base for visiting the mountains all around you. Lauterbrunnen is a major transportation hub. You can get cable cars from here and rack railways. You can ride the postal bus, hike some trails, take the train to Interlaken, which is about a half an hour away. Oh, but that ride up the hill to Wengen is the best of all. It's such a wonderful train ride that it's worth doing again. We're going back up to Wengen. It's the best. No exaggeration, I've been on a lot of wonderful train rides in Switzerland and throughout Europe, but this one is just something really special, as you can see, looking down into Lauterbrunnen Valley. Hang your head out the window to get the best view and snap some great pictures. You could also take a hike along this similar route. There's a lovely trail that goes from Wengen, maybe walk downhill down to Lauterbrunnen. It'll take you about an hour, hour and a half, depending on your speed. And it's quite nice, although much of it is through the forest and you don't get clear views the whole way, but there'll be some special angles you can enjoy. Oh, but the train ride is so easy. Just get the window seat. When you're going up, you want to sit on the right side. And when you're going down, you want to sit on the left side for the best views. And then you'll soon be back in the village of Wengen. You could stay on the train and keep going back up to Kleine Scheidegg. It would take another half hour, but you've just come down that route. So instead, we're doing something different. Get off at Wengen and get on the cable car. We're going to ride the cable car all the way up the mountain, across the plateau, and down to Grindelwald. It takes 2 different cable car rides to do it, and it's a beautiful journey. The first leg is a short 6-minute ride, practically straight up from Wengen up to the cable car station at Interlaken, and you can do that either in a small cable car holding 6 people sitting down, or in a larger cable car holding 80 people where you stand up and it's less expensive. Of course, a big view at the top, there's refreshment stands, and connections to the next cable car, which is a very long cable car ride all the way across the mountains to Grindelwald. That takes a half hour. It's one of the longest cable car rides in the world, and certainly one of the most scenic. Passing through the Hohenstein middle station, you stay on the car and continue on further down the slope into Grindelwald. We're making a stop in Grindelwald. We're going to have a meal and we're going to take you on a hike up the Glacier Gulch. The cable car landing is 1 mile away from the Grindelwald village, so you could take the public bus or just walk it. You'll be there quickly. If you walk directly from the cable car to the Glacier Gulch, that's 1.5 miles. But first, we're going into the village and have a meal. Grindelwald is a beautiful village, and you'll probably find it's worth your while to have a look. We came across this place and had a fabulous meal of goulash with spätzle, a kind of noodle from potato flour. Now we're off on another adventure, this time in Grindelwald. We're taking a little hike from the village of Grindelwald up into the Glacier Gulch. Population is only about 3,000 people. We're at about 1,000 meter elevation, so a very pleasant little place. The Glacier Gulch is about 1 mile away from the village, so it's a bit of a walk, but you can see when you get out of the town, you're getting into some rural country scene you might otherwise miss. That's one of the fun things about little side trips or added adventures. Just getting there is part of the story, and then when you get there, you've got that extra bonus of the Glacier Gulch, as you will discover right around the bend. This is a narrow canyon you can see here, and it goes deep into the mountain. And once again, the engineers have built a very comfortable walkway. There's hardly any grade at all. It's barely uphill, you don't even notice. And it's so easy to walk through this unbelievable canyon. The rock cliffs are so close together, it seems like they are touching at the top. Hundreds of feet high, and in places only a few dozen feet wide. This is an amazing chasm. And you pay an admission to go up here and see it, but it's well worth it. It takes about a half an hour to walk in. They've got
tunnels through the cliff. There's little bridges and cantilevered walkways, all to make it easy and fun for you to get up into this gulch. And there you see the glacier. Well, it's not much of a glacier finally, but it is the lowest glacier in the Alps. There's something special about it. The cold winds blow down through this gulch and support that very low glacier. So even in the summertime, you've got snow and ice at relatively low elevations. The glacier has been receding in the last couple of decades, like most of the glaciers all around the world, actually. But it's still there, waiting for you just outside of the village of Grindelwald. It takes about 40 minutes to walk there.
We turn around and hustle out the same way we came in. We'll speed up that 40-minute walk to about 10 seconds for you here and get out of the gulch.
And then we walk back into the village via a different route. And along the way, we come across some cows. We've been looking for a nice picture of a cow and a cowbell. And here it is. Those soulful eyes checking you out. And there's our prized photo with a beautiful cow. Several cows in the pasture. Maybe that's why Swiss chocolate is so good. It's from these contented cows.
This is why it's fun to get outside the towns and villages when you're in Switzerland and take a walk on these little country trails. You're going to run into some cows or sheep as soon as you get a half a mile outside away from the village, adding that authentic layer to your visit. From Grindelwald, it's that easy and scenic train ride back down towards Lauterbrunnen Valley and to your home base, probably in Interlaken, after concluding a very long and spectacular day. Here's your recap. Started out in Interlaken in the morning, right after breakfast, train up to Grindelwald, then continue by train up to Kleine Scheidegg, change trains up to the Jungfrau, frolic in the mountains, look at the glacier, take a train down, and then do some hiking on our way to Wengen, ride that train down to Lauterbrunnen, ride it back up again to Wengen, cross the mountains in the wonderful cable car, hike through the Glacier Gulch to conclude this super day. Amazing how much you can pack into one day in the Swiss Alps. We have many other movies for you about the Swiss mountains and towns with tips for you on how to get the most out of your visit to these wonderful sites. Bringing you to Zermatt and Zurich, Lucerne and Lugano. Be sure to look for them in our collection.